Good afternoon, friends. Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. I am Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado, sitting in for Doc today. Great to have you with us. We're going to be taking your phone calls at 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552 in just a little bit. If you've got questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to get off your prescription medications and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do that. If you've got questions about the longevity products or formulations, or if you have a comment or a success story, we would love to hear from you at 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552, toll free. I want to start the program off today talking a little bit about something most folks have heard about these days, and if you haven't, you soon will. This is a scientific idea that's been around for decades, but it's starting to become the next big thing in the science of health and in the world of nutrition. I'm talking about the science of epigenetics. And the title of Dr. Wallach's brand new book, Epigenetics, is basically the idea that our genes turn on and off throughout our lives in response to the environment. In response to the environment, for most of us, this is a revolutionary idea. For years, for decades really, since at least the 1950s when the DNA molecule was discovered, we've been led to believe that our genetics are our destiny. How many times have we said, or how many times have we heard people say, including medical professionals, that there's nothing we can do about our weight or our blood pressure or our diabetes or our healthcare issues, whatever they may be, cancer, wrinkles, gray hair, accelerated aging, because it's just in our genes. How many times have we heard people say that our children are smart or they're not smart or they're mean or they're kind or they're athletic because of their genetics? The idea being that we have genes for this feature or for that characteristic or for some quality, and, well, that's just that. The idea that our genes are our destiny, there's nothing we can do. In other words, our genetics are like a read-only CD that can't be modified or can't be changed, and that's that. Well, as it turns out, in many cases, that's not true, and we actually do have a lot of say in how our genetic destiny shows up. Our genes are not read-only CDs. They can, to a certain extent anyway, be edited. What's more, our genes, or our edited versions of those genes, and our edits can be passed on to our children and to our grandchildren. That is called transgenerational epigenetics, and it has enormous implications. In other words, if our genes are turned on or our genes are turned off to reflect a nutritional deficiency that perhaps may cause our muscles to shrivel up or make us more susceptible to an autoimmune disease, perhaps cancer, those changes that occur due to nutritional deficiencies, perhaps, poor diet, perhaps, even our thoughts and our feelings, those changes, those epigenetic changes can be passed on to our unborn children and our unborn grandchildren. And my friends, that has enormous implications. It means that we are taking care of ourselves and eating correctly and supplementing correctly, not just for ourselves, we're doing it for future generations. Epigenetics is environmental genetics, it's emotional genetics, it's nutritional genetics, it's mental genetics. It's the science of how our genes turned on and off based on the foods we eat, the supplements we take, the thoughts we think, and the feelings we feel. Epigenetics is the science of how our environment, our nutritional environment, our mental environment, our emotional environment change our genes. Genes are responsive to the environment, and we are the environment. Our lifestyle is the environment. How we live our lives is the environment. How we live our lives affects our genes. And this should make perfect sense because the ability to respond to changing conditions is absolutely imperative for the health of an organism and the health of a cell. Environments are constantly changing. Environments are constantly in flux. All environments, whether we're talking about the environment at the level of a cell, or whether we're talking about the environment at the level of an organism, or whether we're talking about the environment of a level of a culture, or a society, or a country. If we always wore shorts and t-shirts, regardless of rain or snow or sun, it would be difficult for us to maintain our health. Likewise, for the environment of our cells. If the genetics were fixed, and a cell and an organism's activities and behaviors were fixed in place, regardless of changes in the environment that that cell was sitting in, the health of that cell would be jeopardized, and that is not how life occurs. Fortunately, we have a genetic flexibility that allows our genes to turn on and off in response to environmental circumstances, the milieu, the environment that the cell is sitting in. Genes read the circumstances that the cell is residing in by interacting with various biochemicals. Some of these biochemicals tell a gene that there's a stress that's occurring and a specific protein has to be produced, and the genes that code for that protein turn on. Other biochemicals will tell a gene that all's well in the world and the appropriate protein needs to be produced for that environmental circumstance. In essence, genes are in a constant state of flux. Genes are blinking on and off. If we had the right detection mechanism, we could actually see genes turning on and off, genes pulsing on and off. And this is the science of epigenetics and the various molecules that are responsible for activating a given gene. These molecules are said to be epigenetic factors. And understanding this epigenetic phenomena is super, super important. But if we really want to get a good grasp on epigenetics, we really got to understand what genetics is. Genetics is basically how proteins are made in the body. And everything in the body starts off as a protein. Then the little things happen to that protein. It gets turned into a fat or it gets turned into a sugar. But the first thing that happens, the first thing that gets made in response to our genes are proteins. Epigenetics is the science of how these genes turn on and off, thereby producing different proteins. Epigenetics is about the individual. Epigenetics gives us the power to transcend our genetic fate. Scientists distinguish the individual expression, our individual expression, from the genetic destiny of our genome by the terms genotype, which means our genetics, and phenotype, which is how these genetics show up. Epigenetics is our phenotype. It allows us to override our genotype. And how do we access this? Simple. No need to overthink. It's called health and wellness. It's called nutritional supplementation. BTT is epigenetic juice. The Healthy Start Pack is epigenetic medicine, and we can take advantage of our epigenetics and our epigenetic health by eating correctly and living correctly. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back at you with more good health information on the ZBS Radio Network. Right after this, don't go away. What is going on, Douglas Winfrey?
Well, the makers of Cialis, Sanofi, and Eli Lilly are getting ready to seek regulatory approval from the U.S. FDA to sell their drug, Cialis, without a prescription. They're striving to prove that it can be sold safely without a doctor's guidance. And later in this article, they say, here's some things you need to know about the ED drug. They start out saying that it's different than Viagra. They say Viagra was developed to treat pulmonary hypertension and angina in patients in the late 1990s. And then the patients started telling the doctors about the side effect popping up in a place they never expected. And
Did you really say popping up?
That's what it says in the article.
Oh, Douglas,
this is from ABC News. That's
Bad
get
taste.
After Sidney Lupkin, who wrote this article. They say Cialis, on the other hand, was developed for the sole purpose of treating erectile dysfunction and was approved in 2003. It can be taken daily or as needed within 36 hours of needing it. And they say Viagra, of course, is only good for about 4 hours. You got to take it a half hour to 60 minutes before you're ready. And they go on to say that Viagra has been dubbed the little blue pill, and they were ahead of the market for a number of years. But last year in 2013, Cialis bypassed Viagra with total sales of $2.2 billion. That's billion with a B, compared to Viagra's $1.9 billion. They say the side effects are anything from nasal congestion to sudden blindness, according to the drug's website. They say a runny nose, headache, and indigestion are among the pill's most common side effects, and sudden hearing and vision loss are rarer possibilities. They say there's this well-advertised warning about erections lasting for 4 hours. They say if not treated promptly, you can get a condition called priapism, which can cause lasting damage and result in an inability to make things work properly.
Yeah, and it's a really miserable experience. I've actually seen patients with priapism. Prolonged and painful erections. That's what priapism is. There's actually some other. It's really terrible. And there's also actually some antidepressant drugs, particularly one called Deserel or Trazodone, that can cause this side effect. You know how much one of those pills costs, by the way?
No, I've never tried to get it.
It's like $20 to $25 for one. For one prescription drug pill. The markup on prescription drugs is unbelievable. You know, I haven't really dispensed prescription drugs now for a while, but I've been kind of keeping up with it, and it is just absolutely mind-boggling. To a pharmacist, this is before the patient gets the prescription medication. Medications can cost 100 bottles a pill. 100 pills in a bottle can cost a pharmacist. This is not to the patient now. The pharmacist, $1,000. And that's wholesale to the pharmacist for $100 for 100 pills. And you're talking about maybe 2 cents worth of ingredients and maybe a penny or two for the jar and for the label. And they turn that around and they sell it for $1,000. Can you think of another business that's got a profit margin like that?
Oh, no. In fact, I was just telling someone last night that, during this down economy for the last several years, there's 2 industries that have still been posting record profits. Yeah. Not just record sales, but record profits, and that is the pharmaceutical industry and the health insurance industry.
Right, and the prostitution industry probably too. And
I don't know. Depends on how much Cialis there is out there.
Probably some there. Well, yeah, that's a good point. This is absolute insanity. And when I hear people say, Doug, and you hear it as well, you hear it like I do, that they can't afford their nutritional supplements. If you can't afford your nutritional supplements, if you can't afford your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you better be saving up your nickels because you're going to be spending a heck of a lot more than $120 a month on prescription drugs, even with Obamacare. My mom can't afford her prescription drugs now, and that's with Obamacare. She's got her Obamacare, and she still has to pay $250 a month for her Nexium, or I don't even know if it's Nexium, whatever her heartburn medicine is. And I've had my mom on all kinds of nutritional supplements and tried to get her on the Biolumin Nightly Essence and on probiotics, and what can you do? People, we got to talk about this, Doug. Why are some folks so resistant to the idea of nutritional supplementation? For the life of me, I can't figure this out. Why is nutritional supplementation such a difficult sell for some folks? Hang tight. We'll discuss this when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number. 888-379-2552. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. So I've been a nutritional pharmacist. I've been working with nutrition and nutrients, nutritional supplementation now for pretty much since 1986. That's 28 years or so. And my mom and my dad, you know what? They still don't listen to me. And I still go out and talk to people about nutritional supplementation. And it seems like sometimes, not for everybody, I will say that. But for some people, it just seems to be a hard sell. Now, why? Doug, you're not a medical professional, right? You're a layperson. In your opinion, as a layperson, even though you do have some background in nutrition, what is it about the idea of supplementation that is so difficult to communicate to some folks?
I think it's different for different people, but I think one of the main underlying causes is that most Americans have been told their entire life by their medical doctors and on advertisements on TV and stuff that, oh, you don't need to supplement. You're just getting expensive urine because everything you need's in your food.
Do doctors still say that? Do they really say that?
Well, I haven't been to a doctor in about 30 years, so I don't know what they're saying. But
I don't
talk to them. And I think another thing is that people are just afraid to come out of their comfort zone and change something about their life.
Right.
But I think the main underlying cause is I think people are still convinced that they can get everything they need through their food.
Even if they're sick, though, Doug. Even if people are sick, they're still resistant. There's still an element of resistance and reluctance to using nutritional supplementation, to sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And again, it's not... I won't say it's everybody. There are people who are savvy enough to understand the power of this stuff, and maybe it's the idea of the outliers. You ever hear the concept of the outliers? Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called The Outliers, and he talks about there's always people on the leading edge. There's always folks on the leading edge of new ideas and changes. It's like with epigenetics that we're talking about. It wasn't that long ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that everybody would tell you that it was all in your genes, and your genes were your destiny, and even a lot of people still tell you that idea.
Especially after they sequenced the whole human genome back in the late 90s, then it's like, oh, everything's got to be a genetic,
Right. But the problem was, after they sequenced the human genome, they realized that we have the same amount of genes pretty much as a monkey. And we have just a little bit more genetics, genes than a fruit fly. So obviously it can't just be the genetics. And that's when, people start to wake up to this idea that genes turn on and off. And that's where they get their flexibility from. But it took a while for them to understand. In fact, there was a guy named Lamarck. And Lamarck, back in, the 19th century, went around saying that giraffes, when they stretched their neck out to reach for, forage for leaves at the top of trees, they could pass when their necks changed, their muscles in their necks got longer, the genetics that accounted for the changes in the muscle in their necks could be passed on to their babies. And Lamarck got laughed out of the medical community for this idea that animals could change and then pass those changes on to their children and their grandchildren. And today we know via this idea of transgenerational epigenetics that's exactly what happens. So we don't want to wait for the authorities and the hierarchy and the scientific priests and the medical priests to approve of basic ideas that we know are common sense. Your body runs on nutrition. There's no getting around it. It's like a car runs on gasoline. Our bodies are certainly much more complicated than cars, and nutrition is much more complicated than gasoline, but you're not going to run your car very far without gasoline, and you're not going to run your body very far without the mighty 90 essential nutrients. And folks, we have made it so easy for you to do. All right, give us a call, 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552 if you've got comments or questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, the longevity products. We want to hear from you. 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. I'm Pharmacist Ben along with Doug Winfrey. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We'll be back after this. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, or 888-379-2552. Toll free. I'm Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today, along with Doug Winfrey. There was a neat article, Doug, we were talking about Watson and Crick before we went to break. There was a neat article on Reuters earlier this year where they interviewed Dr. Watson, half of the Watson and Crick duo that discovered the DNA molecule, and he really rips into the cancer industry. He talks about how the idea of using genetics or targeting genetics to fight cancer is really kind of foolhardy. Cancer cells being very flexible. This is that whole epigenetic phenomenon we talk about. Cancer cells have employ epigenetics as well as regular cells, and it turns out that when you target genes, cancer cells can kind of do bypasses and can do an end run around the drugs that are targeting the genes. So Dr. Watson himself, actually, in this article from earlier this year, and I got to look it up. I can tell you when it was if I can find it here on the internet. Dr. Watson says that you should use antioxidants to take care of cancer cells.
Wow,
isn't that interesting? Right? He talks about.
I heard that before.
Exactly, and Dr. Watson is certainly not a wild-eyed alternative medicine radical, and he talks about, and he even mentions vitamin E and a couple other antioxidants in this article, and this is interesting because I got a letter. Did you guys get to talk about that article that was in the press a couple of days ago about how antioxidants are not a good idea and how if you take antioxidants you could end up weakening your cells and shortening your life? Did you get to talk about that?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, well maybe we'll talk about that here in a little bit if we have a spot between phone calls. What do you say we hit our phones, Douglas?
All right, let's head to California. And Jason, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
What's up, Jason?
Hi, Ben. How you doing?
Doing good. What's going on?
Yeah, looking at starting a colon cleanse kind of program, and or I wasn't sure the best way to go about it. Or maybe doing a full body cleanse. You can do everything at once, and getting all your intestines, large intestine. And what's the best approach?
Well, I like the BTT. That's the way I like to do it. Make sure you're getting your liquid nutrients. But there's a neat colon cleanse product, Douglas. Why don't you tell Jason about the colon cleanse product?
Which one are you talking about? The Herbal Rainforest?
I think it's the Herbal Rainforest. Is that the one? There's one that cleans you.
Yeah, that is a cleanse
cleans
product.
You right out. Is that the Herbal Rainforest, Doug?
Yeah.
That's what I tried, the Herbal Rainforest. But I like high doses of vitamin C and high doses of magnesium personally. If you're constipated, first of all, you're going to have one of the major reasons we get constipated is activation of the body's stress response system. You got two nervous systems in your body. You got a relaxation nervous system. You got a stress nervous system. The stress nervous system is activated by emergencies, eating the wrong kinds of food, immune responses, infections or diseases, or even just poor thinking and emotional strategies. Those can activate it's called the sympathetic nervous system or the stress nervous system, and constipation is a classic sign of activation of the stress nervous system. So if you're not moving things along as you should, first thing you want to do is figure out what's going on in the body that's causing a burden. One thing that causes a burden is simple old nutritional deficiencies, which is why I always recommend the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Healthy Start Pack and the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients for all digestive issues, including constipation. But if you want to just clean yourself out super quickly, the Herbal Rainforest is a great strategy. So is high doses of vitamin C. And by high doses, I'm talking about maybe 10 grams of it in a glass of water. Stir it up and drink it down. You may want to do another another 5 grams. By the way, there's about a gram of there's about 5 grams of vitamin C per in a teaspoon. So a teaspoon or 2 of vitamin C powder or magnesium powder can do the same thing. The OsteoMag is a great product for helping keeping you regular on a daily basis. But if you want to clean yourself out real quickly, magnesium is great and vitamin C is great, and the Herbal Rainforest is also a great product too. But always think about the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients as just the fundamental basics that you need for whatever you're doing. So if you're interested in doing a colon cleanse or you're interested in doing a full body cleanse, I assume you mean you're looking at taking care of your health in a general sense. Start off with the Healthy Start Pack. You're going to get your Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. You're going to get the basics, and then throw in the extras like the Herbal Rainforest product if you want to get a good quick clean out. All right, we're going to take a break. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number. 888-379-2552 toll free. I'm Pharmacist Ben, along with Doug Winfrey. We'll be back right after this.
Let's head to Alabama. And Bob, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Bob. What's going on, man?
Well, I have several health issues, and one is I have a blood pressure, and the reading was like 137 over 76 the other day, and I have a low T, which is 300.
Okay.
And I talked to Wallach before, and he asked me about my bowel, and I've been only having like 3 a week.
Well, that's not good, and that's where we got to start off first. First and foremost, we got to always start off with constipation or loose stools or diarrhea. Always first. That's the first thing you want to do. That's all. As I was saying earlier to the last caller, Jason, not only is that a sign of an activated emergency response system, it's a cause of an activated emergency response system, because as you're constipated, toxins get forced back into the blood, and that is a big, big, big time problem. So you got to take care of that, my friend. The most important reason why we get constipated, why this sympathetic or stress nervous system, emergency system gets activated, is by eating the wrong kinds of foods. You guys, do not underestimate the importance of the fundamental health relevance of eating the wrong foods. When we eat the wrong foods, not only do we deprive ourselves of precious nutrients, but we whack out the entire digestive system, which costs us even more nutrients, which costs us even more toxicity in the body, which then leads to this downward spiral, because you get less nutrition, and then you get a worse digestion, and you get more toxicity and less nutrition, and you get this downward spiral. So you got to break the cycle, and you do it by correcting digestive issues. Sir, how old are you roughly? Approximately?
Well, I'm 71.
Okay, so you got many decades. You got 6 decades probably, at least 5 decades of doing the wrong things for your body. So you got to put the brakes on right now. If you're serious about taking care of your low T issues and you're serious about taking care of your high blood pressure issues, I can guarantee you that you can begin to make changes within 7 days or less. Number one, you got to figure out what kind of foods you're having a problem with and eliminate those foods. You have no room for error here, buddy. You got to start right now. You got to find out what those foods are and eliminate those foods. You got to get on the Healthy Start Pack if you're not already on it, and you might want to start doubling up on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. With blood pressure like that, you really need electrolytes, and you really need the B vitamins, and you could really use some vitamin C as well. I'd be using the Biolumin Nightly Essence, and probably a lot of them, probably 3 capsules in the morning, 3 capsules at night, in addition to the Healthy Start Pack. And then, starting on June 2nd, Longevity's got a neat bunch of products coming in called Beyond Organics, and I'm very excited about this product line. It's fermented herbs as well as fermented dairy products that are excellent for treating constipation, for just all digestive health, for overall health in general. And as soon as those Beyond Organic products come out, you should start to explore those as well. Fix that digestive system, get on the Healthy Start Pack, eliminate problem foods, and you go a long way towards lowering that blood pressure and improving your testosterone levels. By the way, deep breathing techniques are a wonderful way to lower blood pressure. Sitting down, breathing in nice and slowly, and then breathing out nice and slowly, and doing it maybe sitting down and doing your deep breathing techniques maybe once or twice a day. Wonderful for lowering the blood pressure and relaxing that stress nervous system. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Let's see if we can get one more in before our break, Doug.
All right, let's head to Indiana. And Jim, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
What's up, Jim? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Ben. How are you?
I'm well. How can we help you today?
Well, I heard you talking about your mom not wanting to take, with the heartburn issues.
Right.
Man, I've had heartburn issues for like 25 years.
You want to fix them right
my whole life,
away?
I should say, longer than that.
You want to fix them?
No, I have fixed them. I'm going to tell you how I did it.
Okay.
I've been on, the Mighty 90 for 14 years.
Okay.
And even then, I still had it.
Okay.
But a couple years ago, heard Doc, talk about getting rid of the gluten. I got rid of that. Buddy, it's gone.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I mean, it is amazing. And I know it's for a fact that that's what it is, because if I have
you get
anything with gluten in it, have a beer or anything, but it comes right back.
Isn't that awesome? I say it's amazing, but you're right. It's not amazing. It's normal. It's how the body works. It looks amazing. It sounds like it's a miracle, but it's just how the body works. Here's the thing about heartburn. You got a sphincter. It's kind of like a round circle of muscle that connects your esophagus to the stomach. And that sphincter opens and closes. When we're under stress, when we're eating the wrong kinds of food, when the bacteria in our gut, we got the wrong kinds of bacteria in the gut, and you got gases being emanated. And when you have deficiencies in stomach acid, that sphincter becomes weakened, and that's when you get the heartburn. Heartburn, you guys, is not an acid issue. It's a stress issue. And by stress, I'm not just talking emotional stress or mental stress. Certainly those are involved. I'm talking physiologic stress. Heartburn is a sign that the wrong stuff is getting into the body. And that's a perfect story. I really appreciate you sharing that, because you're going to help a lot of people. And by the way, it's not just gluten. Gluten is a bad guy, no doubt about it. But it could be sugar, or it could be any of the thousands of different phytonutrients, plant nutrients that are found in spinach and tomato and potatoes. And you may think that you're eating just vegetables and you're doing everything's all right. But if you got heartburn, if you got any digestive system, really, you got to focus on food. It's your digestive system. If you got a problem in the digestive system, it means you're not digesting something. It's really as simple as that. The digestive system, if you have problems in the digestive system, you got a food problem. You guys, it's not a medical problem. God forbid, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, these are horrible illnesses, and they are all the manifestation of a digestive system that is in distress. What causes the digestive system to be in distress? It's not magical pixie dust. It's not magical pixie dust being sprinkled upon us from on high. It's not little elves shooting arrows at us. It's got to be only one thing. And I'm talking about any digestive problem. Look to problem foods. Even if you have to fast for a couple of days and then reintroduce foods. And by the way, if you have a digestive problem and you do fast, you're going to notice that you don't have a digestive problem while you're fasting. In fact, it's pretty much impossible to have a digestive problem if you don't have any food in your digestive system. And it's as simple as that, my friends. Get yourself on the Healthy Start Pack. If you got anything wrong with your body, but especially if you got anything wrong with your digestive system, get yourself on the Healthy Start Pack. Get yourself on the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Get yourself on the Ultimate Enzymes. As soon as the Beyond Organic products come out, get yourself on the Suarvi and the other fine products from Jordan Rubin, and watch what happens. Especially, by the way, make sure you're eliminating problem foods. Watch what happens. You'll notice that it's impossible to have a digestive problem if you're getting the right nutrients and you're eliminating the problem foods. Okay, 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. Who's next on the line, Doug?
Well, let's head to Alabama. And John, you're on with pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, John.
Hey, how's it going there?
Going good. What's cooking in Alabama?
Oh, man.
Roll Tide.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No?
I'm a Tiger fan.
Oh, my bad.
Yes.
I'm sorry. That was bad.
Oh, yes, that's okay. That's okay. We forgive you.
All right.
Yes,
I like Tigers
thank
too.
you guys for volunteering and helping us out today. Thank God for you all.
Praise God. My pleasure. How can we help you?
Yes, I was taking medicine for hypothyroidism.
Okay.
Yes, and I was just trying to see what would you recommend to
good
get
question.
off of that.
Are you on Synthroid? What did they give you?
Polypropylthiouracil.
Okay, so your thyroid's going the other direction. They're trying to calm your thyroid down. Okay.
Right. True.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you got what's called hyperthyroidism. They call it Graves'. They tell you it was Graves' disease.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay,
sir.
so that's a hyperthyroidism. That's not as common as hypothyroidism, but it's still the same idea. It's a body that's freaking out.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what it is. It's your body freaking out. When you got hyperthyroidism, your body's freaking out. When you got hypothyroidism, your body's still freaking out, but it's just pooped. So you got a body that's just in emergency state. Whenever the body's in an emergency state, as I've been saying, you got to focus on what is getting into the body that's activating this emergency system. Does that make sense? Follow what I'm saying, John? Something's getting into your body that is activating this emergency system. Now, to compound things, when you're hyperthyroid and you're moving real fast, you're burning through nutrients real fast, which means you can run into deficiencies really, really quickly. We got to take a break, but I'll tell you how you deal with hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, and maybe wean you off your polypropyl uracil here at the same time. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program talking to John in Alabama, Tiger fan. What do they say about the Tiger fans? Go Tigers?
Yes, sir.
Go Tigers,
100%.
All right, go Tigers. That's LSU, right?
Auburn.
Nope.
Auburn.
Auburn.
Yes.
Auburn.
They played in the national championship. against Ball
My
State.
bad. But what's LSU? Aren't they the Tigers, too? LSU?
Oh, yes, they are. Sure are. You're right.
Yeah,
yes.
they are the Tigers, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's two Tigers.
All right, I don't think anybody wants us to talk any more football, though. Let's talk some nutrition
Okay.
here. All right, because I like football. I could talk football a long time. All right, so Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism. That means your thyroid is moving really, really fast. They give you the propylthiouracil to poison your thyroid. Do you think that's a good idea? That's not a good idea. So here's what you need to do, my friend. First of all, you need to make sure you're getting your electrical nutrients because you're burning through them real fast. That means the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Healthy Start Pack, your Mighty 90 essential nutrients. They're a must-have. I'd be doubling up on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine personally. Make sure you're using that Ocean's Gold. That's going to get you a little bit of iodine. And then also you might want to try the Z-Radical, which is just good for everything. That Z-Radical is an amazing, amazing, amazing product. Thank you, Ray and Yolanda, for turning me on to that one. Z-Radical is great for your skin. It's great for your digestive system. It's excellent for the immune system, and it'll probably help you significantly with that hyperthyroidism. You may want to, if you want to throw in a couple other things, use the selenium. Selenium is very important for the thyroid, OPC selenium. And then the Ultimate Daily is just for all-around nutrition. So you got a bunch of stuff you could do there. Focus on what's getting into your body to mess it up. If you find digestive problems, you might want to throw in the Biolumin Nightly Essence and the Ultimate Enzymes as well. But OPC Selenium and Healthy Start Pack, doubling up on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Z-Radical, and the Ocean's Gold, and that ought to get you good to go. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it, John. And let's see if we can get a couple more calls in here. 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552.
All right, let's head to California. And Ken, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Kim.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Doing good. What's up?
I have two people I'd like to ask you about. The first one is Emma, who's 47, and for 21 years, she suffered from multiple sclerosis.
Okay. You want to take that first? Let's do that first, okay? Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease. Whenever you have an autoimmune disease, you've got the immune system that is confused. It's attacking. The immune system typically is going to attack food. That's probably the most important thing the immune system attacks or kind of purifies or protects us from is food, the wrong kinds of elements in food. But the problem is we're food. Our bodies are food. The same peptides, the same chemicals that are in a hamburger or in soy or are in broccoli or in tomatoes or in peanuts or in anything are in our bodies too. So what happens when you have an autoimmune disease is because of problems processing food, chunks of hamburger, not big chunks, but microscopic chunks of hamburger, microscopic chunks of soy, microscopic chunks of peanuts, microscopic chunks of lots of different things get into the blood. The immune system turns on its very effective and very intelligent weaponry against these little chunks of food. And because our nerve cells or our organs or our glands, they look like food, the immune system cross-reacts. So what I'm telling you here is if you have an autoimmune disease, the odds are really, really, really good that you have a food problem, a digestive problem. And you can tell this for sure by stopping eating, by doing a fast, and watching what happens to your symptoms. Even WebMD, that bastion of the established medical model, says that when you fast, your multiple sclerosis symptoms are reduced. Now, I don't often agree with WebMD, but I'm telling you, they're right on that one. If you don't eat the kind of foods that are turning on your immune system, activating your immune system, your MS is going to go away. In the meantime, what you want to do, or in addition, not in the meantime, in addition, you want to start building up the body. Now, the Mighty 90, that's how you start. That's the Healthy Start Pack, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and the essential fatty acids. In fact, I'd be doubling up on the Ultimate EFAs. I'd be taking 18 of them a day instead of 9 a day. You want 9 a day. Everybody wants 9 a day, but with MS, you really need to start rebuilding the nerve, or helping the body rebuild the membranes around the myelin sheath around nerve cells. So the essential fatty acids are really, really important. Selenium can be very, very helpful for all immune system problems. That's the OPC selenium. So much you could do. I'd also throw in the Biolumin Nightly Essence just to correct digestive problems. Listen, guys, if you're sick and you want to get better, it is easy. Find your longevity rep. Tell them you want to be on the Healthy Start Pack. At the very least, tell them you want to be on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Start sipping on it slowly and watch what happens. If you're like most folks, you're going to notice results in 1 to 2 doses. What are you waiting for? All right, that's all the time we have for today. For Doug Winfrey, Doc Wallach, the ZBS Radio Network, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, beautiful day. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.